There is literally no proof of a real Jesus except this book that y'all want to use. That is exactly what you said. And now you are reversing course because I challenged you. So let's roll the tape.
There is literally no proof of a real Jesus besides this book y'all want to use and says this is facts because in the book it says this is facts.
But now you've moved the goalposts. Jesus is most likely a historical figure, but there is zero evidence that Jesus is the Messiah, divine, God, magical powers, etc. Zero. Wonder what changed? Well, just maybe, perhaps it was this comment here, where I said, in the meantime, you may want to Google the evidence of Jesus for Jesus's existence outside the Bible. So clearly, you either Googled that evidence, or you decide, for whatever reason, you decided to move the goalpost, where there is no evidence of Jesus's existence at all, to there is evidence of Jesus's existence, but there's no proof that says that he's God. We got to make up our mind. All right, so the stitch feature is not on in the video, and I'm not going to take the time to do all the edits and everything like that. So you said in your video, I took notes that you said that the reason you deconstructionists continue to make videos is, for example, if you found out that all your life you were being told that milk is good for you, then you find out that milk is not good for you, you would want to tell people. I get that. But my thing is, here is this. Where is the evidence of that? If you're going to say that milk is not good for people, the only way that I'm going to believe that milk is no longer good, if I've been told that all my life, is that you show me evidence. Every single time a deconstructionist attempts to show me evidence or makes a claim, I'm always able to bring back some information that shows that they really didn't do research, or the research that they did was not in depth enough, but they do not come back with evidence that disproves Christianity, and your video was one of them. The next thing you said, Christianity is BS. I'm gonna do the same thing you did in your video. How? Why? What evidence do you have that Christianity is not true? What is the information? Where did you get the information from? When did you get this information? From who did you get this information from? How many books have you read about Christianity? What apologists do you know? What books have you read? Have you even heard of William Lane Craig? Have you heard of J. Warner Wallace? Have you heard of Gary Habermas? Have you heard of Dr. Eric Mason? Have you heard of Damon Richardson? Have you heard of people that can help educate you on these particular issues? Or did you just hear somebody else say that, you didn't get these answers, and now all of a sudden you decided to deconstruct? Next one, you said, oh, I found a better route. The one thing I've noticed is that every time a deconstructionist talks, all they're doing is dogging out Christianity, which is your right, but I've not seen one of you point me to a better route. I have not seen one of you explain anything that can explain the origin of the universe, our purpose in the universe, our identity, where we get objective morality from, or destiny, what happens when we die. So I would love for you in your next video, because I'm answering all of your questions, please tell me what you have found that's better than Christianity. Where did you find it from? Who told you this information? How did you investigate this information to find out that it's true? What resources can we read to find out about this evidence of something that's better than Christianity? Just like you, I'm asking the same questions. I am able to accurately and articulately defend my faith with evidence. I'm asking you to do the same thing. Will you accept the challenge? Next thing you said was, we always quote the Bible. Well, I would hope so. I mean, that is our source text. For whatever you said that you have found that's a better route, I would hope to think that whatever deity or whatever spirituality you have found, they have found some way of revealing themselves that probably has to be written down, unless you're going to say that a feeling or a divine person came and spoke it to you. Otherwise, that's like saying, hey, bro, defend the United States without talking about the Constitution. How am I supposed to talk about, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to talk about the military and tell you why and how the military operates? That's like saying, hey, bro, tell me about the military, but don't use the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Don't use any military regulations. How, Sway? How are we supposed to do that? Furthermore, I don't need the Bible to demonstrate evidence of God's existence. I can give you evidence outside of the Bible. I can talk about the universe and its existence. I can talk about the existence of life, the existence of intellect. I can talk about how our DNA is existence. I can talk about specified complexity is evidence. I can talk about objective morality. I can give you all kind of different arguments for the and evidence for the existence of God outside the Bible. So again, that claim is disproven. The next one, you talked about the popular argument of, why would God make Adam and Eve if he knew they were going to sin? So let's make a decision here. Does God create human beings with free will? All right. And then your definition of free will was off. You talked about free will being the ability to make decisions without constraint. But what free will is not is the ability to make decisions without constraint and not have consequences. I'll give you an example. We know, they know every time they make a car that people are going to use that car in order to speed and break the law. So do they just not make cars? Or do they make cars and allow people to exercise their free will in driving those cars and then say, hey, if you drive this car and you break the speed limit, if you do things that are in this car that are illegal according to the law, there are consequences. It's the same thing with the Bible. If you decide to use your free will to drive your car, to drink and drive, to drive faster than the speed limit, you have the free will to do so. But what you don't have is the free will to do so without consequence. And it's the same thing in spirituality and with the Bible. Yes, God knew that Adam and Eve was going to sin, but he still gave them the free will to be able to do so. Now, the only other option is God creates human beings that do not have free will, which would be the equivalent of creating robots. So, do you want God to control all of us and have robots walking around, or do you want to be a free will creature that decides whether to choose to accept and believe and follow God's laws or to reject them? And if you reject them, there is the just punishment. Now, then you got to the worst one of all, that there is no proof of the real Jesus. I could take you to quotes from Josephus, from Tacitus, from Pliny the Younger, from Suetonius, from Thales, from all kind of historical figures outside of the Bible that testify of Jesus. I can show you that there is actually an ossuary, a bone box of Jesus's brother, that the two leading paleontologists in the world have verified that is actually accurate. So again, bro, this lets me know that how could you be a Christian and not know the evidence of Jesus? How could you say that you are a former Christian and not know that there is evidence of Jesus's historical existence outside of the Bible? That right there lets me know that as a deconstructionist, you absolutely have not, unfortunately, looked at the evidence for what Christians believe and why. Then you really walked into my wheelhouse. What has Christianity done for our people? What has it done for Black people? You clearly have not researched the evidence that Christianity was in Africa long before it ever got to Europe, that Christianity was in Africa and that there were people of color on the African continent that were Christians 1,500 years prior to the slave trade. A lot of the things that we think were responsible by Europeans were actually done and created by Africans. You can't talk about the first 300 years of the progression and growth of Christianity without talking about the North African continent. Do you even know of people like Tertullian, which is where we get the name for Trinity? Do you even know about Cyprian of Alexandria? Do you even know that the first university, the world's largest library, the first seminary in the world were all in the Alexandria, Egypt, in North Africa? Do you even know your own history? These are things, again, I would love to educate you on, but all you're doing is demonstrating to us that you really don't know what it is that you're talking about, my brother. Then what has Christianity done for Black people? Who do you think it was that was responsible for the abolitionist movement? It was Christians, not atheists. It certainly wasn't anybody toting any African spirituality that fought to end slavery. It was Christian morality and abolitionists who understood and believed the Bible in context that fought for the ending of slavery. Where do you think the civil rights movement was led by? It was led by preachers. What do you think the voting rights movement was led by? It was led by Christians. You clearly, my brother, have not done the research. I want to recommend that you read a book by my good friend and brother, Pastor Isaiah Robertson, called Black Church Empowered. I would recommend that you follow my friend. I'm going to tag him, Marcel, in here. Both of these brothers are experts and very knowledgeable about the Black church and about how the Black church has been benefited, how Black people have benefited from the Bible and Christian morality. You need to do your research, my friend. And then the military goes against the Bible. I don't even really know how to explain that, man. I'm a non-combatant. There's nothing that says that I have to unalive anybody, that I have to do anything that violates my own beliefs, my own sacred texts, or anything like that. So again, that again just shows it would be easier to just ask, hey, Chaplain Benton, how does your biblical beliefs and your service to the country, how do they reconcile with one another? Again, my friend, I love you, my brother, and I really would love the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with you because you've demonstrated in your video that you really don't know basic elements, basic doctrinal beliefs about Christianity. And I'm not here to make you look bad. I'm not here to embarrass you, but you are demonstrating in your video that you really don't have the evidence that you're talking about.